Thank you so much, Linda. It's exciting to be here. And I've been looking forward to sharing for a very long time. And it's a thrill to be able to do it now. Um, I know Yoga Facelift is an interesting new concept for a lot of people. And I think it has a lot to do with my being 62, but feeling lots of years younger than that. So just to give you a brief summary, I'll try to make it brief. There's a lot of years in there. So I'll just, highlight the most important ones that have to do with us right now. Let's see. I'll go all the way back to when I first learned about yoga, and that was in 1969. And I was 12 years old, and I heard about the Woodstock guru, Swami Satchidananda. And my older brother's friends told me about this groovy new thing called yoga. So that's quite a few years ago. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary, going on 51. Okay, there's a reason why I'm telling you all about this. I knew that was my tribe at 12. I was fascinated by it, and soon after began to do yoga. So I've been doing it for decades. And when I reached my 30s, I realized that I'm starting to age a little more slowly than my contemporaries. Didn't think too much of it, but then went into my 40s and 50s, and it started to become more obvious that, at least in my opinion and from what others have told me, that I was aging more slowly. And eventually, I attributed that to my yoga practice. And being, I don't think we mentioned it, a natural medicine practitioner, I went into the science of it, and I written quite a few books about it, about the benefits of doing yoga for natural health. And along with that, being a natural medicine practitioner, I found some wonderful studies about yoga for the face. And there actually is a study or two about yoga for the face. Recently finding that a group of middle-aged women who practiced yoga specifically for the face looked 3 years younger, according to objective dermatologists who looked at before and after photos. And this was only after 2 months of practice. So there is objective medical science behind it now, and would love to share it with all of you. So in conjunction with that, I discovered some wonderful anti-aging agents, in the most recent one being apple stem cells, and based my anti-aging serums partially on using that. It really is a breakthrough natural substance that's derived from apple stem cells, and been found, studies have been done, and it's been found to stimulate our stem cells in our skin, and in turn stimulate the production of our skin cells, younger skin cells, to renew the skin we have now. So I've come to find out that the reason why aging occurs in our skin is that it's intimately tied with our estrogen and progesterone and other sex hormones. So as we begin to age, as soon as your 30s, our sex hormones begin to decline. So but by the time we reach menopause and beyond, they're very low. if only sometimes almost non-existent. So we do need some intervention, some natural intervention to reverse that or prevent that kind of aging that we're used to seeing in 60-year-old women and older. So I could go on from there. Linda, do you have any thing in particular?
No, I was just going to say that I was just going to ask about the face yoga, because I've got, you know, degrees in human movement, and this is just not something that is ever discussed ever. And I'm really fascinated on that level, because you know, often people will say to me, "Oh, well, you look so much younger than you are," and I say, well, the first thing that you do is you choose your parents well. Well done. You know, if you happen to be, you know, dealt up some great genetics, then fabulous. The next thing is start 20 or 30 years ago. But a lot of the women I get to work with have often had quite sort of stressful lives and often haven't looked after themselves for quite some time. They've been very conscientious at looking after their families and other things, work, etc. So what I suppose when people get to watch this recording, what are some basic things they might be able to think about and or do in reference to face yoga? And I think the first thing that or first resistance that people come up with is, I don't think I've got the time and or the money. So is can you tell us what the time commitment would be, and you know, how they can gradually kind of move into this? So obviously not the whole shebang, because that takes time, effort, work, and they can contact you. But yes, just a little bit more about that would be really, really terrific. And there's I'll also read out a question that's come through in a minute.
Sure. Being an exercise physiologist as well, especially in the early days, I know as a fact that there's very few exercise systems that include the face. So yoga is one of the few. And of course, I took it for granted, you know, over the years, and just did them naturally in the pose. And the reason why the yoga masters use the face was we have more esoteric yoga science. We have many nadis or meridians, energy meridians that come into our face. You know, we have our third chakra here, and our crown chakra, our throat chakra. So there's a lot of energy that's in our face and in our neck. And they wanted to clear those meridians or channels, like you would hear in Chinese traditional medicine, or acupuncture points. And yoga science and acupuncture are very similar, in that they just have different terms for it. But it's the meridians or nadis in Sanskrit that terminate in the face. And the yoga masters were very interested in keeping that energy course clear without any blockages. And so that it's always about obtaining enlightenment. So by bringing extra blood flow to the face and exercising the face and massaging the face, all of this is part of yoga practice. We're bringing more blood flow into our third eye. I mean, this is esoteric now, and into our chakras that exist. We have 3 right in this little space, and help, you know, give you a better chance of obtaining enlightenment. And there's quite a lot more esoterically that they were wanting to promote. So it's interesting. I'm sure my, you know, Swamiji from Woodstock, my Woodstock guru, would kind of laugh at this at Americans, like they're separating the face from the rest of the pose, which is, you know, not, you know, ideally it's, you know, like you don't want to necessarily separate the energy. from the body and the face. You want it to be one coherent structure.
Yes.
So in that respect, I don't necessarily separate the two. And I just do the whole pose. Whereas you might see commercially, you just do, the simple Google search, you'll see them making faces, which is kind of a,
I
not
understand.
a yogic thing to do.
Yes.
So, and in addition, the study that I referred to earlier, which is what I base my practice on and recommend to other people, I pretty much follow the premise of the actual clinical study. And the actual poses that were done in that study that had been shown to be clinically effective in reversing aging in the face, just that alone.
Yes.
And they found that even a few minutes a day can make a difference. However, they noted that the longer you practice and even the more time you put into it, because what we're doing is just exercising the muscles of our face like you would exercise your arms and any other part of your body.
Yes. So it's all about condition and that consistency of effort.
You need that for any exercise, right? It's not any different.
Yeah. So it's a few minutes a day. You're conditioning into this, and starting somewhere is really important. So I have no problem with whatever hook we use to get people started on a pattern. So this is, when we compartmentalize, it's quite an interesting thing. And having grown up in and spent so much time in the fitness industry, I would see many people exercising angry. And I thought that was just so silly because they were
right.
Yeah. So I'm not really
boot camp.
Yeah, exactly. If it doesn't hurt, then
you have to pain to make right. Yoga is, of course, the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, and exactly, it is the complete opposite. And also,
because we want to get enlightenment. We don't want to, not necessarily. The whole thing is don't have pain, so that you can put all of your energy into that enlightenment.
Exactly.
Energy sphere.
And so I learned very early on to if I was feeling very tired, walking through something was better than pushing too hard and getting completely exhausted. So I learned very early. So now at nearly 50, I've got girlfriends who are having hip replacements and all sorts of things because they've just overdone it for so many years. But because I'd purported to changing with the seasons, all the different types of modalities of exercise, then I end up with this body that keeps on serving me. But now, wanting to look for more and more and more things, which is why I'm fascinated by this. So thank you for answering that. The question that's come through here from Kaz is, can premature skin aging actually be reversed?
That's what the study has found, that objective dermatologists, a team of them reviewed the before and after photos and found that it was reversed 3 years. And in addition, they're saying they want to expand the study to go beyond 3 months because because of the way, the graphs were formed, they realized that it could keep going up. In other words, the years, it can be more reversal. And really, there's a exercise science behind it, in that part of the reason why we have aging in our face is that we very rarely use the muscles in our face. So as you get older, they become more and more atrophied. I know this sounds horrible, but it's true. And that's why you have the sagging and, the sunken cheeks and, the whole aging look, is because our muscles aren't supporting the skin on our face. So we have two horrible things going on. One is the muscles, become weaker and atrophied. And the next is because of what's going on with the hormonal link to our skin youthfulness.
Yeah.
So we have these two horrible things happening, and then, and then you get your typical 60-year-old face, 70, 80, and on. So that there is a prevention in that you can exercise the muscles of your face to, increase the volume of your muscles, just like if you're exercising your biceps.
I like it. Yeah.
And and also, we got other things going on. It's not just the face that's sagging, unfortunately. It's also the arms. We see it first, the changes in the arms and the sagging of the triceps and that whole catastrophe and the abdomen and on and on. So by addressing the changes in your skin, along with exercising the muscles underlying the skin, it's a great combination. And that's what I meant by saying, I think I have a powerful combination.
Beautiful.
And
you absolutely
I hope
do.
that my face can serve as a little bit of an inspiration. I'm an extrovert, but I was extremely reluctant to put myself as a 62-year-old cover girl, but I was convinced. And people said, you've got to, inspire other people.
Walk your
just to
talk.
show
Exactly.
that it's possible.
Yeah.
So I've come out of the closet and here I am. Always hiding.
I understand this. Well, a picture tells 1,000 words, and it's the same with, there's no photo across the internet of me under 40 because I work with women over 40. So it's my abs, it's my bikini body, and I'm not saying everyone wants to aspire to that, but you walk your talk. And I want to convince people that it's not difficult. You just need to be consistent and focus on the right things. And as you've talked about, focusing on those right things is really, really important. Behind all of that, I actually find is a buoyant attitude and that vibrancy, that youthfulness, which I really believe women are modern. So I work a lot with 60 and 70-year-old women. The men of the same age are not always as with it, right? Gross generalization, but I do find women stay young. And I think that they want to, because they want to be involved and they want to contribute and they want to learn more. And this aging process should be one that's more delighted in, as opposed to what Western attitude is about ageism. And this recent time, I think, around COVID has been quite ageist. About, if you're this age, you can't go near anyone, which is, we want to protect our communities, of course, but there's always something threaded through, and for women as well. So whatever we can do to empower them, I think is really, really super important. I want you to talk a little bit about your beautiful serums, etc. I will confess I'm a lazy girl when it comes to cleansing my face, skincare, etc., etc. But I've made a commitment to myself and Elaine that I'm going to do better, and we're going to experiment.
It'll pay off. You'll
you.
see.
Taking a before photo. So tell us more about these beautiful serums.
Thank you. Well, what's interesting here also, it's not just about older women. To my shock, when I first found this out, being, in medical studies, that aging starts in your 30s. And that's, when the sex hormones really do start to decline. And so during that entire decade of your 30s, it can become even a premature aging, and some women even go into menopause, unfortunately, in their 30s. So it's never too soon, really, for us to learn about the medical science underlying aging. It's nice to have beautiful skin and all that, of course, but to prevent those debilitating situations and, like you described, aging problems physically as we grow older, with the hip replacements and things like that. So yoga can also address that, the aging of the rest of the body. Um, okay, so now I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. These are my favorite subjects, so I can talk about them for hours. Okay, you asked about the serums.
Yeah.
So I came up with an initial one, experimenting with those Swiss apple stem cells that I was so obsessed with, because it was such a remarkable, incredible breakthrough that it was all natural in that, they extracted the potent antioxidants found in this particular variety of an apple, the brilliant Swiss scientists. So you're getting like a concentrated extraction of the apple. There's no chemicals in it or anything. But it's the essence of what keeps that apple young. They have this amazing story about the Swiss apple that, they're tremendously high elevations, but those apples survive it. Their skin doesn't become shriveled and wrinkled. I know it sounds like, an old person. Where in it, and it always puzzled people and scientists. Well, why are the apples surviving this, high altitude? So anyway, sure enough, they extracted what's going on in that apple and found this powerful antioxidant that stimulates the stem cells of the skin of the apple. Okay, well, it turns out it has a very small, tiny molecular structure, so it's easily absorbed into our skin to the basement level of our skin where our stem cells reside. And so stem cells, just quickly, is just progenitor cells from which other cells are made. So we have stem cells of our own in the basement, lowest level of our skin. They're hard to get to, but the Swiss apple antioxidant, fortunately for us, can reach it.
Yes.
And stimulate it. And in stimulating it, it tells the cell, okay, time to produce more skin cells. I don't care if you're 80 or 70 or 60, whatever your age is, you're going to do this. And you get this renewal of skin, youthful skin, straight from the source. So it's not even something that's being put on just topically. It does absorb into the skin.
I see.
So along with that, I very simply thought, okay, hyaluronic acid is a very important component of skincare for the same reason. It's a very important component that holds our skin together and our collagen together. And unfortunately, both of those things completely decline. We have practically none of it left by the time we're in our 60s and beyond. I mean, it's just this horrible thing. And it's because it's intimately tied to our hormones.
Yes.
Sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone and DHEA, they all are triggers to our skin cells saying, okay, hyaluronic acid, we need more of you, and we need more collagen, and it's giving messages. So unfortunately, that's human aging. Once those sex hormones decline, everything goes with it. It's not difficult to understand. I mean, in my opinion, if you know that basic concept, it's shocking to see the cascade of what happens as a result. That shocked me. It's like, oh my God, just because you're not making any more sex hormones, everything goes to hell.
Yes.
I
So
mean,
my understanding is that you can let me know what you think and explain this better than I can explain it. But my understanding is that you can actually set yourself up well for your body to age well. So things like testosterone can be increased, and we all need that, women as well. And if you weight train, lift weights, etc., which I'm a massive component of, any type of resistance training, whatever that be. And so if you set yourself up well, do you have, and even if you do that, it's the combination and the of that's really important, of the hormones. So if your estrogen's dropping anyway, then it's more about the combination has been upset as opposed to it's all dropping, if that makes sense. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I'm very much, my Ageless Body formula is very much about sleep and weight training and eating well and stressing less, because that's so degenerative for all people. But if we hit it from all sides, we've got a better chance. But my understanding is if you do all of those things perfectly, but you stress, then you negate a huge amount of the efforts. Can you talk a little bit about that? We've got 6 minutes left, I'll just let you know. But if you could talk a little bit about that, I think it's useful for people, as well as it helps them to understand that you have a combination and a formula. It's not that there's just one little serum in a little container that will change your whole life. It is actually about, the combination of health.
Yeah, that totally. And that's the holy grail, to address the sex hormone decline, which starts in your 30s, shockingly.
Yeah.
So you don't have a chance. By the time you're 60, you're, it's in the basement. I mean, it's okay. So now we know this, but unfortunately, the chemical hormone replacement women were given in the 60s through 90s were found to be toxic. They were giving you horse urine and God knows what else. All right. So HRT, as it's called, hormone replacement therapy, is banned now. So conventional medicine doesn't really have a solution. So as far as they're concerned, your hormones are just going to fall to the ground and that's it. And there's nothing much that can be done about it unless you take HRT to your risk. Okay, so fortunately, natural medicine comes to the rescue, and there are natural alternatives, just like the Swiss apple can stimulate your stem cells. Well, phytoestrogens and wild yam you can derive equivalent estrogenic and progesterone type of natural compounds that can then once they're applied, and there's different ways it can be done.
Yes.
They will attach to those estrogen receptors that are empty and just begging to be filled.
Yes.
And boom, you got that phytoestrogen. It's okay, it's something. And then, and I'm a result of a completely natural supplementation in that way. But it's tricky business. Hormonal, it's difficult, to each patient is different.
Yes.
So there is caution here, even though they are natural.
Yes,
So that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But it's good to educate women.
Yes.
So then they can go and do their research.
That's right. Yeah.
Find out what might work for them. And of course, DHEA is the mother hormone, and that's the most important one. And I just want to plant that in your heads if you don't remember anything else. And without DHEA, which precipitously drops by the time you're 30 something.
Yes.
It does, I'm 62. This happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So my yoga practice helped mitigate some of that.
Yes.
But it's, it didn't magically make my hormones, increase.
That's right.
So,
and if you're looking, and I've got a degree in sociology, and I'm really fascinated about how science and psychology meet this space in time. So, if you look at what women are doing in their 30s, often they're growing families and children and mortgages and careers and everything else that applies quite a lot of pressure and stress, even though we want to participate. There's this thing called standards for women, and they all try to do everything perfectly, and it's very stressful. So I guess all that's happening at the same time, and it's no wonder they're tired, worn out, forgetful, everything else that can go on even before they've hit 60 or 70.
You need to be educated to be aware of
and
what they're facing.
That's exactly right. But also to have
early intervention,
to have a little calm
it really is
around things as well. Is that sort of if I you know, I don't have to be a weightlifting specialist. If I do a bit of this and honor my sleep and talk to Elaine about, you know, this and the hormones and etc., or Linda about, you know, whatever. It's really, really important to talk about these things. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, to actually package it up in this way. I think it is absolutely doable to look 10 years younger consistently. And I think it's a nice goal. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to wrap this up, and everyone who's on the email list, I'm going to send a recording so you can rewatch this or pass it to a friend if that's okay with Elaine as well. And I think that yeah, you can direct questions to Elaine, but I just want to say thank you so much, Elaine, for coming and answering those questions today.
Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity to come out of the closet and reveal
Wasn't too
you know, just what the heck went on that I can look like this. And you know, and I even reluctant to say those words, but look, you know, someone's got to, you know, say it, that I because there was intervention and I was a little older. So if you can intervene in your 30s,
yes, absolutely.
You can look even younger.
Absolutely.
Than I look.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on board. If you need anything, please reach out to Elaine or myself. There's so much more. It's just scratched the surface, I think. So much love. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, beautiful ladies. Thank you.